And we'll start with Jason Beardsley, retired military special operations and intelligence officer. Jason, there's talk that Putin has gone to Plan B now. What does that mean to you, and has he gone to it?
Yeah, I think he went to it early in this invasion because his forces were underwhelming. They did not continue the momentum that he had hoped to do. And now what you're seeing is desperation ploys to artillery shell these cities, to bomb civilian infrastructure. He's trying to break the will of the Ukrainian people, but it's having the reversed effect. The Ukrainians have stood up from the beginning of this fight and turned this into a slugfest for Putin. Putin is now just trying to save face, and you let off with a report about his generals being killed. There's so much more going on in Russia, too. He's losing his allies close to him in the Kremlin, in the Duma. So this is a very dangerous time. It's why we're seeing some of these desperation plays.
I want to ask you about the generals in a minute, Jason, but let's go back to what's happening and what you mentioned, this Plan B, and what they're doing, the Russians in Mariupol, just bombing it I heard 90% of the infrastructure in that city is gone. What does he gain from that, and why is that city so critical? I know it does provide sort of a land bridge for him.
Yeah, sure. But make no mistake, this is not so much about strategic criticality for Mariupol as much as it is he has forces close by. He can resupply them from Crimea and from the east, which makes this an easier city. He's hoping to witness or show that the Russian forces are willing to break these cities by siege and starvation. His hopes are that that will break the will of the Ukrainian people, but it's not working. So this is less about strategy and more about opportunity, failed opportunity for Putin. That's why we're seeing it.
There's a lot happening on the ground, Jason, and I keep asking the question, can the Ukrainians hold on? Today, I wondered if maybe I should ask you, is another question, can the Russians hold on? I think we might have lost Jason. There he is. Okay.
Have to hold on. This is their home train. Yeah, the Ukrainians have to hold on. The Russians, on the other hand, they are desperate. Their lines of communication, their logistics supplies, those are broken. There's a lot of defection of Russian troops. So that's the right question. How long can they hold on? And that, again, is why I think they're resorting to artillery and bombing of civilian infrastructure, because that's an admission that they've lost the strategic momentum here. But to be honest, Vladimir Putin is not acting like a rational player. He's stretching his forces out, and it looks like he's willing to gamble them all the way to the end of this. This will end in negotiations, but I think Vladimir Putin is trying to get to that table with as much damage on the Ukrainian side as possible to give him a leg up. That will not work.
What do you make of these hypersonic missiles, Jason? I mean, some are saying the Russians obviously didn't need it to destroy the arms depot that they used it on. Instead, they think maybe this was intended as more of a message to the West. What do you think?
Yeah, it does look like a message. First of all, the hypersonic missile advantage is when you're working against sophisticated air defense systems. That the Ukrainians in Mariupol do not have those systems. So the usage of it begs the question, was this psychological, or was it because they're trying to attempt to use these? And part of it could be discovery for them too. So it's not very much tactical in that it's changing the ground situation. But again, here's an opportunity for the Russians to employ psychological and information warfare against the Ukrainians.
So let's talk more about these generals now that you mentioned, Jason. I think at least 5 of his top 20 generals have been killed. That's apparently what the Ukrainians are reporting. How does that change the strategy, and what does that represent? I mean, if nothing else, it shows that this has not gone well for the Russians.
It is a disaster. Now, part of what you can read from that is that the United States and Western allies are downgrading some of our intelligence and passing it to the Ukrainians so they can precise target these generals. To lose this many generals in a conflict is an utter disaster, especially for the Russian forces, whose their battlefield tactics really rely on leadership making the decision at the ground level. So when you lose significant leaders, you're in a hurting position. So this is a good sign that the West and the allies have got a good program of getting information, communications, and strategic level intelligence to the Ukrainians, and it's having a massive effect on Russia. This is all working out completely the opposite of what I think Vladimir Putin intended.
Sure sounds like it at this point. Jason Beardsley, retired military intelligence officer, Green Beret, now heads up the Association of the U.S. Navy. It's always great to have you, Jason. Thanks for the time.
You bet.
Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.